Just how delusional is neocon Nikki Haley? I have some border numbers that are going to stun you, perhaps. And the Republic of Texas defies the United States Supreme Court. Stay tuned, everybody. For fast, reliable, and mobile internet, check out Connecting Internet. Links down below. Hello, everybody, and a happy Thursday to you. I am trailertrashtim. Thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to the channel. I am awfully glad that you are here. We got a lot to talk about, so let's get going. As you know, yesterday was the New Hampshire primary, which President Trump won handily. There were basically two people on the ballot or in the race, DeSantis having already dropped out of the race, as well as Vivek. So it was just a showdown between Trump and neocon Nimrata Nikki Haley. And as you know by now, President Trump won this race very handily. I believe he got well in excess. I know he got well in excess of 50%. I think he finally came in around 53 or 54%. So it was a convincing win. And for all intents and purposes, this race is over. Everybody knows it. Haley knows it. But she just refuses to get out. I did make a mistake yesterday on the show when I said that South Carolina was the next primary. It's actually Nevada, but I don't even know if she's on the ballot there or not. I'm not sure about that. But the next contested primary would be the state of South Carolina, assuming she is still hanging around. There's no discernible path for this woman. And I talked yesterday about the reason why I believe she is still hanging around. I believe that there are powers in place that have plans for neocon Nikki, and I believe that that's why she's still around. So we shall see what she does. But you know, if if you looked at everything through the lens of normalcy, then you would have to conclude there is no reason for her to still be in this race. This thing has been over from the jump. It's been over since Iowa. But neocon Nikki just refuses to get out. She's going to lose South Carolina. I don't see a state out there that she could possibly win. I don't see any primary where she's going to beat Donald Trump. It's just not there. She's being propped up by big money, big interest who hate Donald Trump. And this money, of course, transcends party affiliation, and I'm going to give you proof of that here in just a moment. But there are people who despise Donald Trump from every political background or party, and people who are not even Americans who are funding Nikki Haley's campaign. This woman is bought and paid for. She is a puppet. She is owned. And she is told what to say and what to do and where to go and what to believe. And she's just a puppet. There's no way she deserves to be anywhere near the White House. But what I wanted to mention was what she said after her defeat last night. Some people say she came in second, but the fact of the matter is she came in last. It was ostensibly a two-man race. And again, she got soundly defeated by Donald Trump. But I want you to listen to what she tweeted on social media. This is a direct quote from neocon Nikki Haley, and she said essentially the exact same thing after being defeated in Iowa. Listen to this. Thank you, New Hampshire. The political class wanted us to believe that this race was over even before it began. You proved them wrong, and I am so grateful. It's time to put the negativity and chaos behind us. Our fight is not over because we have a country to save. What? Thank you, New Hampshire. The political class, Nikki, darling, that's you. The political class wanted us to believe that this race was over even before it began. Nikki, it was over before it began. And even if it wasn't, it sure as heck is now. You proved them wrong. No, Nikki, they proved you wrong. Cognitive dissonance, anyone? In Iowa, after coming in 4th place, Vivek Ramaswamy did the normal thing, and he stepped before the microphones, and he congratulated the winner of the Iowa caucus, President Trump, and then he departed the race and endorsed the frontrunner. That's normal. That's what you do. If we're playing tennis, you and I, and the score of the tennis match is 6-2, 6-love in your favor, then I've been beaten. It's black and white. It's clear as a bell. I mean, what is wrong with this woman? Thank you, New Hampshire. The political class wanted us to believe this race was over before it began. You proved them wrong, and I'm so grateful. Nikki, what are you talking about? You lost, and you lost badly. This is what she should have said. Dear New Hampshire, I gave it my best. I realize I probably should have gotten out of the race after Iowa, but there's no doubt left now. There is no path forward for me. I don't want to get humiliated in my home state. Therefore, I concede the primary to President Trump. I concede the fact that he won. I concede the fact he is the obvious nominee of the party, and I will do everything within my power to support him and ensure his reelection to the presidency. That's what a normal person would say. This statement she made makes no sense on any level. Now, I don't believe neocon Nikki is an idiot. I don't think she's a blithering idiot. I think she's got some smarts to her, which begs the question, why would you say something like this? This total cognitive dissonance, this total fabrication, or what? How can you say something like this? Why are you thanking people for dealing you a loss, a huge loss? Why are you saying the political class proved somebody wrong? What do you mean by that? Why are you saying the race was over even before it began? Well, of course you're right, but not in the way you think. I mean, she's making a statement as if she won the race. And the exact opposite is what happened, which makes her statement completely nonsensical. Nikki, you lost, and you lost badly. Your statement sounds like a victory speech. There was no victory. You were defeated badly. That's when you stand before the microphones with a sad face in front of a sad, small crowd, and you just concede and say it's over. That's what you should have done. Now, why didn't she do that? Maybe it ties in with what I said yesterday about the fact that perhaps Nikki has been led to believe that she does have a future. That's the only thing I can think of that makes sense. Have you got any ideas about this? I mean, am I missing something? Let me know down below with your comments. Otherwise, this makes zero sense whatsoever. Now, let me give you a little more information about New Hampshire last night. This was posted on Twitter. By the way, you can follow me on all the links are down below. You can follow Trailer Trash Tim on Twitter. This was posted by Eric Brakey. He's a good guy. He is a Libertarian state senator from Maine. And this is what Eric Brakey tweeted last evening. According to exit polling, listen to this, 70% of votes in New Hampshire were cast by, let me start over, I misread that. According to exit polling, 70% of votes for Nikki Haley in New Hampshire were cast by non-Republicans. Did you catch that? 70%, 70% of votes cast for Nikki Haley in New Hampshire were cast by non-Republicans. What does that tell you? That tells you non-Republicans were voting for Nikki Haley. That tells you people who despise Donald Trump, people who have TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome, that tells you Democrats were voting for Nikki Haley, trying to stack the decks against Trump, which makes his win even all the more impressive. He continues, she received 43% overall, which means only 13% of Republicans voted for Haley. 13% of Republicans voted for Haley. That's nothing. That is nothing. In other words, if it was just Republicans voting, this would have been something on the far side of a landslide for Donald Trump. New Hampshire Republicans just overwhelmingly repudiated Bush-era neoconservatism, to which I can only say thank God, because no doctrine needs to die a more sudden death than Bush-era neoconservatism. And Nikki Haley, as I have maintained, correctly so, is just another incarnation of Bush, McCain, Romney, Clinton, Obama, Kerry, Gore. It doesn't matter. She's just another one of those. She'd be like Jeb Bush. Remember him? Please clap. So things are abundantly clear by this point, ladies and gentlemen. This thing is over. This thing is over. There is no path for Nikki Haley, and she is the only one left in the race. This is Trump's nomination, and it's just that simple. Whether you love him or not, those are the facts. Trump wasn't my candidate. I don't hate Donald Trump, as I've stated before, but now I support Donald Trump because he is by far the only option we have left in the race. And I'll do so gladly because Trump does a lot of good things. And among the things he does really well is defend our country with special regard given to our northern and southern borders, which leads me to my next story, which is utterly stunning. Now, I have talked at great length about how Joe Biden is forsaking his duty, his fundamental duty as the occupant of the White House to secure the borders of our homeland, the southern and the northern, or any border you can think of. And purposely, Joe Biden has left our borders wide open. Why? Because he is in line with the Obama doctrine of the fundamental transformation of America. Joe Biden is not against illegal immigration. Joe Biden is not against the invasion that is happening on our southern border in particular. He's for it. That's why he won't stop it. Because like Obama, he is trying to fundamentally transform America. He's trying to turn Texas from a red state into a blue state, and so on and so forth. That's why he's doing nothing about the southern border. And I have some numbers that go along with what I'm telling you, which are absolutely stunning. The hard data. Breitbart released these numbers a couple of days ago, and the statement simply reads this. Joe Biden released 6.2 million illegal aliens in 3 years. Did you get that? 6.2 million illegal aliens running amok in our beloved nation. Now, I want you to think about that for a minute and let that number sink in, if you can even conceive this number. And I want to give you some comparison data which brings some clarity to what that number means exactly. In 3 years' time, ladies and gentlemen, we have 6.2 illegal aliens running loose in America. Do you know what the population of the state of Missouri is? Right at 6.2 million. In other words, we have the similar amount of illegal aliens released in our homeland as there are in the state of Missouri. We essentially have a representative of every citizen of the state of Missouri. Imagine them all as being illegal aliens. It's an entire state. Missouri is the most populous state. Let me rephrase that. Missouri is the closest state for comparison with the number of illegal aliens that Biden has released in our homeland. Missouri has 6.2 million residents. Maryland has 6.2 million residents, just under it. Wisconsin has 5.9. Colorado has 5.9. Minnesota has 5.8. South Carolina 5.3. Alabama 5.1. Louisiana 4.5. And down it goes. Kentucky, Oregon, Oklahoma, Connecticut, Utah, Iowa, and on and on and on it goes. We got a lot of states with far less than 6 million people. Missouri has 6.2 million, and we've got 6.2. We've got an entire state full of people running around our nation that are illegal aliens. This is not acceptable. We are being invaded on a daily basis. This is war. If 6.2 million Chinese nationals were coming across our border right now, what do you think we should do about it? Or 6.2 million Russians, or 6.2 million Australians, or 6.2 million Iranians? What should we do about it? And this is not just like a trickle, a few here and a few here, a few hundred today and 20 or 30 tomorrow. No, millions of illegal aliens. Imagine rounding up every resident of the state of Missouri right now. Just imagine that. How many football stadiums would be filled? Hundreds. That's how many illegal aliens. I'm just trying to give you the state of Missouri as a comparison and understand how many illegal aliens have invaded our country just in the last 3 years, thanks to the occupant of the White House. Now you see why Trump is winning. Because nobody else I can think of that is left in the race, of course, would be doing anything about our border. Vivek, for his part, said he would bring home our soldiers. He said the same thing I've been saying. He'd bring home our soldiers from overseas and put them on the southern border. That's what you do. Is that not just common sense? If you're being invaded, what do? You deploy your military to stop the invasion. Again, I'm just a simple dude in the sticks of Alabama, but I understand this, and I bet you do too. Why can't our leaders understand this? Because they want this. That's why. Now this story, I've got two more, but I may stop with this one. Pardon me. Getting all choked up here. This story goes in line with this next story that appeared in the Gateway Pundit. The headline reads, Texas National Guard responds to the Supreme Court order by installing more razor wire. Have you heard about the United States Supreme Court basically telling the great Republic of Texas they're going to have to cut their razor wire and get rid of it? They did this with the help of good old Chief Justice John Obamacare Roberts and Judge Amy Coney Barrett, a Trump appointee, who we all thought, oh, she's great. She's a great conservative jurist. She'll be great on the Supreme Court. Well, she ain't now. Not at least on this, she's not. The U.S. Supreme Court this past Monday sided with the Biden regime and allowed Border Patrol agents to remove razor wire installed on the Texas-Mexico border. Governor Greg Abbott previously installed about 30 miles of razor wire at the Texas-Mexico border near Eagle Pass to stop the flood of illegal aliens being let in by the Biden administration. In October, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, God bless this man, filed a lawsuit against the Biden regime regarding their cutting razor wire at the border. The lawsuit made its way to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals after a federal judge sided with Biden. The appeals court last month said agents could not cut the razor wire. And then in a 5-4 vote, the Supreme Court granted Biden's emergency request this past Monday afternoon. Conservative justices, Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett sided with the liberals, and granted the Biden regime's emergency request. And Ken Paxton responded, the Texas Supreme Court's temporary order allows Biden to continue his illegal effort to aid the foreign invasion of America. The destruction of Texas border barriers will not help enforce the law or keep American citizens safe. This fight is not over, and I look forward to defending our state's sovereignty. Now get this. God bless the Texas National Guard. Now remember, they went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court, with the help of Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett, said, you got to cut the razor wire and get it out of there. No, you can't defend your borders. The Texas Border Guard responded to the Supreme Court's order to remove razor wire by installing even more. This is for you, Texas National Guard. This is a standing O. You know what I've often said, and I've got footage here. You can go on the Gateway Pundit and find footage of the God bless the Texas National Guard. Here they are after the Supreme Court says cut the wire and take it away, and the Texas National Guard says not no, but hell no. We're putting up even more. I have long maintained, ladies and gentlemen, and I understand this is a slippery slope, but I'm sorry. I'm a man with just a little bit of common sense, and I maintain stupid laws are meant to be broken. There you go. I said it. Does that make me an anarchist? Call it what you will. But if the law, if the Supreme Court says you can't defend your border, then I would say, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. And, by the way, you 9 black-robed justices do not trump, no pun intended or intended, you do not trump the Constitution. You are not above the law. And on this matter, you are wrong. Now think about this for a moment. Let's say you buy a piece of property. You own your property. You're a sovereign landowner. Maybe it's just an acre. Maybe it's just a lot. Maybe it's 100 acres. I have a piece of property here. Let's say you own your piece of property and you decide one day that you would like to put up a fence around your property. Now that's your legal right as a landowner, right? As a property owner. So you call the fence company and you say, hey, I want you to come out on my property and put up a privacy fence or a chain link fence or a rock wall or whatever. And you can do that because it's your property. And you have the right to defend your property and to protect your property. Do you not? So you call the fence company and they come out and they put up a fence around your property. And then some official with the city or the county comes over to you and they say, oh, Mr. Property Owner, Mrs. Property Owner, you're going to have to take that fence down. You would say, why? Why would I take a fence down? It's on my property. It's my fence. I bought it. I paid for it. I own it. And I want to defend my property. Guess what? I don't need your permission to put up a fence. That's just common sense, is it not? This goes in line with what the great Ted Nugent, the Motor City madman, said with regard to the Second Amendment. And I love this quote that I heard. He said this several years ago. He had some reporter goading him and picking at him about his affection for firearms. There's nothing wrong with that. And he was trying to, mock Ted in a manner of speaking and get him to defend his position on the Second Amendment. And Ted Nugent basically said to this guy to just forget the Second Amendment for a moment. And he said, listen, if I just landed on the planet from outer space, me and my loved ones, I don't need a law to tell me I have the right to defend myself and my loved ones. Is that just not common sense? I don't need your permission to defend myself or my loved ones or my property or my home. I don't need your permission for that. And that is ostensibly what the Texas National Guard is saying. Okay, so Supreme Court, you made your ruling. Well, bless your little hearts. Go and have a nice day. We're going to defend our border. We don't need your permission to defend our nation, for God's sakes. So you go ahead and vote 5-4 or 6-3 or 9-1 or 8-1 or whatever you want to do. We're going to defend our border, thus says the Texas National Guard, and they are right. And the Supreme Court is wrong. Interestingly, none of the Supreme Court justices live in Eagle Pass, Texas. I'll tell you where they do live. They do live behind gated walls in the comfort and security of their secure homes, where they're never going to be threatened by any illegal aliens at all. Now, of course, 4 of the justices had enough common sense to side with the state of Texas on this matter. But it is a little disheartening knowing that Roberts doesn't surprise me. Roberts is the one who codified Obamacare. Chief Justice John Roberts, a George W. Bush appointee. No surprise from this clown. He's no conservative. He never was a conservative. Amy Coney Barrett, you should be ashamed of yourself. Sometimes these people get so wrapped up in the legalese and the minutia of the law, and they just lose their common sense. And sometimes it just takes somebody with a little bit of common sense, a little bit of horse sense to say, well, what's wrong with you people? Of course they can defend the border. And we don't need your permission to defend our border. All right, I'm going long. I got one more story, but I'll save it for another day. Thank you so much for joining me. Listen, comment down below and let me know your thoughts on what we talked about today. Give me the thumbs up on this video. I would really appreciate it. It helps the algorithm if you all like the video, and I'd appreciate that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Again, several of you have reached out. You've done the Buy Me a Coffee. If you find value in the content, you can support the channel thusly. Down below, the links are all there. Thank you to all of you who have done that. I appreciate that very much, or PayPal, what have you. Everybody go out there and have a great Thursday. This is Trailer Trash Tim, and I will talk to you soon.